interest in the traditional, the old-time music goes in cycles, it seems like. I mean, right here lately, nationally, there's been a big interest in what people call roots music. And goodness, if there were ever a place that did roots music, I guess this would be it. I've said that if you wanted to go to one place and round up a batch of people who have played, understood, able to perform, able to play old-time music, traditional old-time music, there's about as deep a pool of that right here as there would be. And one reason for that is that even through years when interest would kind of wane and it was hard to fill up seats in the auditorium, and it would cut back the number of nights of performance and so forth, still that roots music was being done. And there was what's called roots music program that went into the public schools. Center musicians, it was an elective. The schools here in the county had their own music programs. This was added on. And so if a young person wanted to learn to play fiddle, old-time banjo, dulcimer, whatever, they had the chance to learn. And so just decade after decade after decade, and we've been here 50 years now, there would be these kids that would just kind of blow your mind, particularly with people like me who, suddenly we're the old timers, And I'll talk about what we call the old timers here in a minute, but we find ourselves now seeing with kids who play circles around us, the kind of talent. It's just astounding year after year after year. We got a new crop of kids just in the last, year or two that are just, I don't know. I don't have the words for how good they are. And they've learned because there are people around here who learned from the old timers back when, and that, oh goodness. Ballad singers like Almeda Riddle, who became known across the country. She performed at Newport Folks Festival. She performed at Harvard. She performed at Berkeley, whatever. And she was just singing those songs that she grew up on, Ollie Gilbert, same capability. Ollie was a banjo player also, freighting style banjo player. And Bookmiller Shannon was one of the well-known old-time frailers. And for those who might not know, that's the traditional style. People are more familiar these days with Scruggs style, bluegrass style banjo playing. And I'm not saying that there never were people who played three-finger style. There were, certainly. But the main style was with this kind of motion on the strings, and that was called frailing or claw hammer. And when one of the old-time banjo players, maybe it was they were going to back somebody playing a slow ballad or something, they would do the three-finger thing. Personally, I kind of get my fill of Scruggs style pretty quick, But I love the old freighting style. It's just, I don't know, it resonates with me personally. And then the old-time fiddle style that, Seth Mize or Oscar Skoll or, names that, Red Gillihan, Robert Gillihan's daddy. And their names that I'll fish up here in a minute. But my generation learned from them, And that's what, if you talk about folk process, that's what that is. The term folk music gets bandied around a whole lot now, and it's kind of lost its original meaning. The original meaning of folk music was that got handed down person to person, oral tradition, And that's what this place has been all about. And like I said a minute ago, there'll be a few years in which nobody seems to be much interested. Then there'll be a kind of a revitalization of it. And to the credit of Arkansas State Parks, they never closed the doors, and they've underwritten what they needed to. And the Folk Center is still here. The Folk Center is still doing essentially the job that it was built to do. There was a shift very early, and I had a hand in this. All right, Ollie would do this. She knew all the old songs. But if she heard one on the radio that she liked, she didn't want to throw that into the program the next time she played. So we made a rule that let's take 1941 as a cutoff point. Music done before then. And that worked then. Those were players deep rooted in the tradition and all that kind of thing. But over time, it became clear that that wasn't going to work going forward. It's not like that kind of music just quit developing at a certain time. And so later on, and I think this was a very good thing, the idea became, okay, we know what the roots are, and we want people to play at the center to understand the roots and be able to do that music. But there's music that, here's a new fiddle tune. It's in the old style. It reflects the roots. And so that's part of the repertoire now. And I think that's a healthy thing. It's hard to monitor, Sometimes something's going to show up where you think, maybe not. But so you take that and go with it, But the concept really is the roots thing. If it flows out of that, that's what we want to do. And that's what sets the Folk Center apart. And to a large degree, it's what sets Mountain View's music image apart. We won't compete with Nashville. We won't compete with Branson. Not interested in doing that. We're who we are. We do what we do.